All right, well, a little bit early, but I like to get set up and just kind of wait for people to come in. If people are going to come in today, I am going to be doing studies for on Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays, and like do special stuff like on the weekend, and talk about my experience, and hopefully people can talk about their experience. And um, you know there's so many people who have crossed over and come back, and I like to hear other people's experiences too, and people see different things. They don't always travel through going through the portals. Um, and then plus, people will start getting visions and things like that, and dreams. I'm gonna go over here just a second. Mhm. Okay. Ooh. Facebook is so fun. Oh, okay. So let me get some coffee. Don't have anybody in yet, and it might not because it's Friday. Everybody just wants to go home after working, but this will be uploaded automatically, so it really doesn't matter if you get in the live show unless you want to chat. My uploading my own personal videos, like if I make a video, um, YouTube will I'm still having a problem with uploading that. Otherwise, I would be cranking these things out. It's really hard to do live shows. I don't know if people, unless you do this, you really can't understand it. But it's both mentally. Let's see. Hi. Sorry, I cannot read that. Let's see. I'll chat. Let's see. Hi, Kip and Ashley. Good to see you. Today we're going to be going over the book of Enoch again. The thing about Revelation is you really need to start from the beginning of the book to go through the seals and vials to understand it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to read the whole book of Enoch, not today, but in through our next studies, and then I think it's like September 18th, it's on a Friday, I'm going to begin the book of Revelation, and we're going to get through it pretty quickly. And I will, explain, and it's not really that hard once you understand the symbolisms, the analogies, the timelines. Yeah, I've been meaning to email you, but oh gosh, I know for myself, it's been really hard to get motivated. Hi, Roxanne. Anyway, I really think that this is going to be a lot of fun, and there's more people are going to come in. The group will be moved to another area, and that's for like deeper understanding. On Facebook, it's a little comprehensive, but it's like for everybody. Hi, Ori. Glad you're here. Let's see. We have, well, it is 3:01 now. So let's begin. This is going to be a lot of fun. I love Enoch. The first, let's see. Yeah, the first 5 chapters of this is just talking about the elect and things like that. But then when you get into chapter 6, that's when you get into the watchers. And so here we go. Chapter 1. The words of the blessing of Enoch, wherewith he blessed the elect and righteous, who will be living in the day of tribulation. See, now if we were to be raptured out of here before all this, we wouldn't be able to, see what I mean? We would not be able to do our purpose. So we will be here when all the wicked and godless are to be removed, and that's on Christ's coming. And he took up his parable and said, Enoch, a righteous man, whose eyes were opened by God, saw the vision of the Holy One in the heavens, which angels showed me. And from them I heard everything, and from them I understood as I saw, but not for this generation, but for a remote one which is to come. And it started in 1948 with the parable of the fig tree. And we've been in it for a while, but it is the last generation. Okay, concerning the elect I said, and took upon my parable concerning them. The Holy Great One will come forth from his dwelling, and the eternal God will tread upon the earth. God, Yahweh, comes down after the millennium in the eternal life. So during the millennium, he won't be here with us. Even on Mount Sinai, and appear from his camp, and appear in the strength of his might from the heaven of heavens. And all shall be smitten with fear, and the watchers shall quake. On Christ's return, these fallen angels that are mixed in with the crowd, they'll all be plucked up and done away with. And great fear and trembling shall seize them unto the ends of the earth, and the high mountains shall be shaken, and the high hills shall be made low, and shall melt like wax before the flame, and the earth shall be wholly rent and sunder. On Christ's return, the mount is going to be sliced in half, and there's a great earthquake on Christ's return as well, and it's going to flatten everything. Right now, you see the Wailing Wall, you see all of that still up. All that's going to be destroyed forever. And all that is upon the earth shall perish, and there shall be a judgment upon all men. That's talking about the great white throne judgment at the end of the millennium. But with the righteous he will make peace, and will protect the elect, and mercy shall be upon them, and they shall all belong to God, and they shall be prospered, and they shall all be blessed, and he will help them all, including this time and this great time of testing. And the light shall appear on them, and he will make peace with them. And behold, he cometh with 10,000s of his holy ones to execute judgment upon all. So that's on Christ's return, and he's bringing back everybody who has died in righteousness. They'll be coming back with him to fight against this, in Ham and Gog and in Armageddon, all of those people who are gathering together. and to destroy all the ungodly, and to convict all flesh of the works of their ungodliness which they have ungodly committed, and of all the hard things which ungodly sinners have spoken against him. Chapter 2. These go by really quick. They're not real long. Observe ye everything that takes place in the heaven, how they do not change their orbits, and the luminaries which are in the heaven, how they all rise and set in order, each in its season, and transgress not against their appointed order. Behold ye the earth, and give heed to the things which take place upon it from first to last. So from the beginning of this dispensation um, to the end, and we're at the end now, how steadfast they are, how none of the things upon earth change. So you're talking about the seasons, and this whole talk about global warming, and we're doing all these horrible things, and they want to tax the very breath we take. But all the works of God appear to you. Behold the summer and the winter, how the whole earth is filled with water, and clouds and dew and rain lie upon it. Chapter 3. Observe and see how in the winter all the trees seem as though they had withered and shed all their leaves, except 14 trees which do not lose their foliage, but retain the old foliage from 2 to 3 years till the new comes. And again, observe ye the days of summer, how the sun is above the earth over against it, and you seek shade and shelter by reason of the heat of the sun, and the earth also burns with growing heat, and so you cannot tread on the earth or on a rock by reason of heat. When God renewed the earth for the second earth age, which we're on, he set the luminaries, he set the sun up, he set the moon up, he set things up for time and seasons, so that we know when, that everything's going to be, summer, fall, winter, spring. It's that way every year, and it's consistent. So like with the time of Noah, he had to do that to get rid of the evil. And this is what we're going to be seeing, but in this book, but it's going to stay consistent no matter what until Christ returns. Then the sun and the moon are going to be gone. We won't ever need it. And I could go on about it, but I think you get it. Observe ye how the trees cover themselves with green leaves and bear fruit. Wherefore give ye heed, and know with regard to all his works, and recognize he that liveth forever hath made them so. So he created everything. He created all souls. He created everything we see, the existence. And all his works go thus from year to year forever, and all the tasks which they accomplish for him, and their tasks change not, but according as God hath ordained it so done. So at the time of Noah, he created, the deluge to get rid of something, and he uses nature for judgment. And behold, how the sea and the rivers in like manner accomplish and change not their task from his commandments. So he's in control. But ye have not been steadfast, nor done the commandments of the Lord, but ye have turned away and spoken proud and hard words with your impure mouths against his greatness. O ye hard-hearted, ye shall find no peace. Therefore shall ye execrate your days, and the years of your life shall perish, and the years of your destruction shall be multiplied in eternal execration. And ye shall find no mercy. In those days ye shall make your names in eternal execration unto all the righteous. And by you shall all who curse, and all the sinners and the godless shall imprecate by you. And for you, the godless, there shall be a curse. And all the, it's got a dot, 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 dot. And I would say all the righteous shall rejoice. And there shall be forgiveness of sins. This is for the good side. In every mercy and peace and forbiddance there shall be salvation unto them, a goodly light. And for all of you sinners there shall be no salvation. There's only one way to salvation, and that is through Christ. But on you all shall abide a curse. But for the elects there shall be light and joy and peace, and they shall inherit the earth. And then there shall be bestowed upon the elect wisdom. And they shall all live and never again sin, either through ungodliness or through pride. All the evil elements are going to be gotten rid of at the great white throne judgment, all. But they who are wise shall be humble, and they shall not transgress, nor shall they sin all the days of their life, nor shall they die of the divine anger or wrath, but they shall complete the number of the days of their life, and their lives shall be increased in peace, and the years of their joy shall be multiplied in eternal gladness and peace all the days of their life. Now, during the millennium, for the very elect, since they did not they did not worship the Antichrist, and they did their purpose, when on Christ's return, they will be transfigured into their eternal type spirit. That means that they're changed into immortality. And I think at that time they are incapable of sinning or anything like that, because they've already been tested. Now those who ended up, transgressing and worshiping the Antichrist, those people will be changed into their bodies, their spirit bodies as well, but they will still have mortal bodies, liable to die. But they will be tested, and at the end of the millennium. So, and if they get through that, then they're also transfigured into their eternal bodies. Okay, now here we go. Chapter 6. Let me get something to drink here, sorry. And it came to pass, when the children of men had multiplied, that in those days were born unto them beautiful and comely daughters. Now this is Adam's lineage. And, each person, lived very long lives. So they had lots and lots of kids, and they were told to multiply and spread. So by this time, there were a lot of people on earth. And also, you have the nations in there too. And the angels, the children of the heavens, saw and lusted after them, and said to one another, Come, let us choose us wives from among the children of men, and beget us children. And Sanjazah, who was their leader, said unto them, I fear ye will not indeed agree to this deed, and I alone shall have to pay the penalty of a great sin. And they all answered him and said, Let us all swear an oath, and all bind ourselves by mutual imprecations, not to abandon this plan, but to do this thing. Then swear they all together, and bound themselves by the mutual imprecation upon it. And they were in all 200 who descended in the days of Jared on the Mount Hermon. And they called it Mount Hermon because they had sworn 7 and bound themselves by mutual imprecations upon it. And these are the names of their leaders. I'm just going to go back. Jared's time, you had first Abel. Abel was murdered. Then Seth replaced Abel, so that's 1. Then Enos, 2. Kenan was 3. Mahalalel was 4. Jared was 5. Then Jared, then Enoch. So it was at the 5th generation that these 200, these are the original that came down. After that, there was more. And then there was a second influx after the flood of Noah. Okay. Their leaders, Samlazaz, their leader, Arakablah, Ramiel, Kokabel, Tamiel, Ramiel, Daniel, Ezekiel, Barakujahal, Azalel, Armoros, Bartelrel, Ananel, Zachiel, Samsakiel, Satarel, Turiel, Jomjael, Sariel. These are their chiefs of the 10s. Now this, if you noticed, most of all of the very end, it ends with L. And the angels are named we are the Elohim. God is El. The combination of God is Elohim, but we're also included because we're sons and daughters of him. So I don't know what our names were as far as when we were in the first earth age, but today's meanings, they're picked by our parents. Chapter 7, and all the others together with them took unto themselves wives, and each chose for himself one. And so they chose one, and they began to go in unto them and to defile themselves with them. And they taught them charms and enchantments and the cutting of roots, and made them acquainted with plants. This is the kind of plants where, like the psychedelics, where you take these types of mushrooms or whatever, and you're able to see beyond. And they became pregnant. And with this is kind of like pharmacology as well. And if you look at Big Pharma now, how huge it's gotten and how powerful. And everything is synthetic. They can't use nature. They use nature by taking from nature, then trying to reproduce it in a chemical. And they bear great giants, whose height was 3,000 ells. And I'm not sure how big that is. Maybe someone in the chat knows, but there have been bones found that are just huge, and a lot of these bones we're not even privy to. They basically got scooped up by the Smithsonian and all the ancient types of artifacts and things like that. So these evil Kenites are trying to keep us from knowing who we are and our history. Who consumed all the acquisitions of men, in which men could no longer sustain them. The giants turned against them and devoured mankind. So that's like First cannibalism. And they begin to sin against the birds and the beasts and the reptiles and fish, and to devour one another's flesh and drink the blood. Then the earth laid accusation against the lawless ones. And these lawless ones are coming back. We see cloning today. We see so many things being, like even plants themselves that are being genetically modified to fit, just like if you, there's this one where they genetically modified corn that makes their own fertilizer. I think it's glyphosate, but anyway, you eat that and it is just not good for you. But it's really hard and expensive to just get regular, normal, organic food. You would think it would be a little different, that because they had to make this in a lab, but this is all part of it. You're part of being in the Babylonian system when you have to buy their products, and it gets harder and harder to find God's creation. Chapter 8. And Azazel taught men to make swords and knives and shields and breastplates, and made known to them the metals of the earth and the art of working them, and bracelets and ornaments, and the use of antimony, and the beautifying of the eyelids, and all kinds of costly stones. Now, the beautifying of eyelids, I'm not sure, but this is just a guess. This is where, like, women begin to prostitute themselves, because it really isn't a sin to wear makeup, but it's to attract a male, and they used to like just really pour it on, and so I'm sure that's what it is. And all coloring tincture. So basically they had the earth themselves. Yeah, hi Billy. They had all these, the clothes, but now they're turning them into purple and all these really pretty colors. It's not a bad thing, but it's just for their adornment, for their flesh. And there arose much godlessness, and they committed fornication. See, that's why I think they committed fornication not only against God, but they were all having orgies and prostitutes and different religions in there, and they turned away from God. And they were led astray and became corrupt in all their ways. Sanjaza taught enchantments and root cuttings. Armaros, the resolving of enchantments. Barakwajal taught astrology. There's astronomy, which even like in Adam's time, that's how they read the signs and kept track with, they didn't have books per se, but they looked at the stars and measured the stars and were able to interpret that. Now, this, with their astrology, you see it today, with reading of cards and all sorts of things, but that's where they got it. They got it from Ethahadam and God's method. Kokabel, the constellations. Ezekiel, the knowledge of the clouds. And even today, look how we have cloud seeding and weather control modifications. I wonder if they were doing that back then. It would be interesting to go back there and just see for a split second, what were they doing? And Eriquel, the signs of the earth. Shamsiel, the signs of the sun. Serial, the course of the moon. And this is where they could have got like months, like moons, how that started out, because anything in Satan's prophecy is all in moons, lunar, and everything in God's prophecy is solar. And as men perished, they cried, and their cry went up to heaven. Chapter 9. And then Michael, Uriel, Raphael, and Gabriel looked down from heaven and saw much blood being shed upon the earth, and all lawlessness being wrought up upon the earth. And they said one to another, the earth made without inhabitant cries the voice of their crying up to the gates of heaven. And now to you, the holy ones of heaven, the souls of men make their suit, saying, bring our cause before the Most High. And they said to the Lord of ages, Lord of lords, God of gods, King of kings, and God of the ages, the throne of thy glory standeth unto all the generations of the ages, and thy name holy and glorious and blessed unto all the ages. Thou hast made all things, and power over all things hast thou, and all things are naked and open in their sight. There's nothing that you can hide. There's nothing that is not seen by God. And thou seest all things, and cannot hide itself from thee. Thou seest when Azazel hath done, who hath taught all unrighteousness on earth, and revealed the eternal secrets which were preserved in heaven, which men were striving to learn. So they were teaching these things that were only made for heaven. Like for me, there are things that I can't tell you. The things that I was shown and things like that, they're just, I can't. I would have the biggest whoa, whoa, whoa put on me if I did. And Sanjaza, to whom thou hast given authority to bear rule over his associates. And they have gone to the daughters of men upon the earth, and have slept with the women, and have defiled themselves, and revealed to them all kinds of sins. So in the second influx after Noah's flood, the same things begin to happen again. It would just start it all over again. Now in this third influx, it's gonna start again, but it's only a 5-month period, so they're not gonna really be able to bear children anymore, but you know, the same knowledge. And I think actually, you know, with these UFOs and these vehicles that Satan has, something is definitely happening. This new technology that will be revealed to us during tribulation, but it'll all be a lie. Just know that there won't be any truth during the tribulation. And the women have borne giants. Could you imagine having a baby and it's giant? I have read in different places that they split out the stomach when they came out and killed the woman. And the whole earth has thereby been filled with blood and unrighteousness. And now, behold, the souls of those who have died are crying and making their suit to the gates of heaven, and their lamentations have ascended and cannot cease because of the lawless deeds which are wrought on the earth. And boy, are we seeing lawlessness today, and they're getting away with everything. It's just going to get worse. And thou knowest all things before they come to pass, and thou seest these things, and thou dost suffer them. He's giving them a chance to repent. because during this time, um, Enoch and who's the next one? Jared was a preacher. Enoch, Methuselah, Lamech, and then Noah. They were all preaching during that time to not follow into their footsteps, to stay out. And thou knowest all things before they come to pass, and thou seest these things, and thou dost suffer them, and thou dost not say to us what we are to do in them in regards to these. So during that time, God is giving the people on earth a time to repent, a time to get out of it. But as you know, by the time it came up to Noah, it was only Noah and his family. Everything else had been polluted. Now, we'll get into Noah in the Bible a little bit later, but there's some things you probably haven't heard that isn't taught, but it's something that we can go over, and it explains a lot about how the nations set up again, and how the Kenites survived it. Because if it were just Noah and his family, nobody would have survived. And if it was the whole world, which it may have just been geographical at that time, just at that place where these giants lived. Chapter 10. Then said the Most High, the Holy and Great One spake, and sent Uriel to the son of Lamech, and said to him, Go to Noah, and tell him in my name, hide thyself, and reveal to him the end that is approaching, that the whole earth will be destroyed, and a deluge is about to come upon the whole earth, and will escape all that is on it. And now instruct him that he may escape, and his seed may be preserved for all the generations of the world. Remember, that's the seed line in which Christ would come through. And their main focus was to pollute the bloodline in which Christ would come through. If they polluted everybody, there would be no redemption plan. And again, the Lord said to Raphael, Bind Azazel's hand and foot, and cast him into the darkness, and make an opening in the desert, which is in Dudiel. I don't know where that is, but is it really on earth? It would be interesting to get the actual scrolls to get to the real meaning, because when you go into translation, you're going by somebody else's thoughts. That's why the Septuagint is really cool and stuff. And cast him therein, and place upon him rough and jagged rocks, and cover him with darkness, and let him abode there forever, and cover his face, that he may not see light. And on the day of the great judgment he shall be cast into the fire, and heal the earth which the angels have corrupted, and proclaim the healing of the earth, that they may heal the plague, and that all the children of men may not perish, through all the secrets things that the watchers have disclosed and taught their sons. It's over in the Middle East, but there's a place that it appears that like a nuclear bomb went off. It's all just glass. To me, it's really interesting to look back and to find these things and to ponder. I know there's nothing new under the sun. So what we're seeing has been seen before. And the whole earth has been corrupted through the works that were taught by Azazel. To him ascribe all sin. So he's the scapegoat. If you ever, like when when Israel was worshiping and they had their sins, they put them all on a goat and sent them out into the desert. It was called the scapegoat. There's other other books that say that this scapegoat was turned into a demon and things like that. No, I don't know, but it's just, that's where that came from. And to Gabriel said the Lord, proceed against the bastard and the reprobates, and against the children of fornication, and destroy the children of fornication and the children of the watchers from amongst, and cause them to go forth. So everybody was in with each other like we are today. We have nations in with our nations. We have, it's not a bad thing, because Christ has been born, but we have black marrying white. We have Chinese people marrying black and things like that. But at that point, they weren't supposed to do that. But here they are. They're doing that. Send them one against the other, that they may destroy each other in battle. For length of days shall they not have, and no request that they, i.e. their fathers, make of them, these Nephilim, the fallen angels, make of these shall be granted unto their fathers on their behalf, for they hope to live in eternal life, and that each one of them will live 500 years. They think that God is going to forgive them, but that's a great, great sin. And the Lord said unto Michael, go bind Sanjaza and his associates, who have united themselves with women, so as to have defiled themselves, and with them in all their uncleanness. And when their sons have slain one another, and they have seen the destruction of their beloved ones, bind them fast for 70 generations in the valley of the earth, till the day of their judgment and their consummation, till the judgment that is forever and is consummated. That is pretty crazy, man. So what they did is, in the end, you're going to have Satan himself causing chaos and making people fight. Well, God just said, well, you're going to hate each other, and you're just going to kill each other and destroy each other. In these days they shall be led off to the abyss of fire. So at the great white throne judgment, that's when it's all done. And to the torment and the prison in which they shall be confined forever. And whosoever shall be condemned and destroyed will from thenceforth be bound together with them to the end of all generations. So basically, you do not want to partake in that kind of stuff. Get out of Babylon now. Because the deception in the end time is not a flood that destroyed Noah's time. It's deception. And Satan himself coming down, proclaiming to be God. And destroy all the spirits of the reprobate and the children of the watchers, these giants, these Eber, because they have wronged mankind. Destroy all wrong from the face of the earth, and let every evil work come to an end, and let the plant of righteousness and truth appear, and it shall prove a blessing. The works of righteousness and truth shall be planted in truth and joy forevermore. And then shall all the righteous escape, and they shall live till they beget thousands of children, and all the days of their youth and their old age shall they complete in peace, and then shall the whole earth be tilled in righteousness, and shall all be planted with trees and be full of blessings, and all desirable trees shall be planted on it, and they shall plant vines on it, and the vine which they plant thereon shall yield wine in abundance. And as for all the seed which is sown thereon, measure of it shall bear 1,000. So like when they were going into Israel and Joshua was taking them in there, it was a land of milk and honey. Up in paradise, it's beautiful. It's going to be restored back to that. During the millennium period, that curse of thorns and working the ground, I think that curse will be gone. And so it'll be somewhat like the garden, but it will still be on earth in a different dimension. When Christ, not when Christ, but when Yahweh comes down for the great white throne judgment, then everything will be turned back as it was in the first earth age. But all evil element, everything will be completely gone. And we live forever. And each measure of olives shall yield 10 presses of oil, and cleanse thou the earth from all oppression. So God is going to get rid of all that, and from all the unrighteousness, and from all sin, and from all godlessness, and all the uncleanness that is wrought upon the earth. Destroy from off the earth. And all the children of men shall become righteous. Nothing evil or offense will get into the eternal life. So this is why we have all this testing now. You have to be tested in order to be able to get in. And all the nations shall offer adoration and praise me, and all shall worship me. And the earth shall be cleansed from all defilement, and from all sin, and from all punishment, and from all torment. And I will never again send them upon it from generation to generation forever. Chapter 11. And in those days I will open the stored chambers of blessings which are in the heaven, so as to send them down upon the earth over the work and labor of the children of men. And truth and peace shall be associated together throughout all the days of the world, and throughout all generations. When you pray, it goes up to God, but if you're doing His work, He's sending down blessings to you. When you do the work, your treasure lies up in heaven. So when you go into the millennium, you're given that. And also, when you go into eternity, you take all that with you. So chapter 12. Wow, we're getting through this really fast. Before these things, Enoch was hidden. So he had been conversing with God and teaching and things like that. Well, he probably wasn't teaching if he was hidden, but he was probably learning a lot from his father. His father was teaching him all these things. And no one of the children of men knew where he was hidden and where he abode. Well, that says he probably learned all this from his father, and then He went to a cave. Many of the prophets went to caves. And what had become of him and his activities had to do with the watchers, and his days were with the holy ones. And I, Enoch, was blessing the Lord of majesty and the King of the ages. And lo, the watchers called me Enoch the scribe, and said to me, Enoch, thou scribe of righteousness, go, declare to the watchers of the heaven who have left the high heaven, the holy eternal place. They left their own habitation and came down here. How they did, was it through these vehicles? And have defiled themselves with women, and have done as the children of earth do, and have taken unto themselves wives. Ye have wrought great destruction on the earth, and ye shall have no peace nor forgiveness of sin, inasmuch as they delight themselves in the children, the murder of their beloved ones shall they see, and over the destruction of their children shall they lament, and shall make supplication unto eternity. But mercy and peace shall ye not attain. There is no true peace without God. And Enoch went and said, Azazel, thou shalt have no peace. A severe sentence has gone forth against thee to put thee in bonds. So you got the news, you got the memo. And thou shalt not have toleration nor request granted to thee because of the unrighteousness which thou hast taught, and because of all the works of ungodliness and unrighteousness and sin which thou hast shown to men. Then I went and spoke to them all. Together, all the 200, they were all afraid, and fear and trembling seized them. And they besought me to draw up a petition for them, that they might find forgiveness, and to read their petition in the presence of the Lord of heaven. For from thenceforward they could not speak with him, nor lift up their eyes to heaven, for shame of their sins for which they had been condemned. Then I wrote out their petition and the prayer in regard to their spirits and their deeds individually, and in regard to their request that they should have forgiveness and length. And I went off and sat down at the waters of Dan, in the land of Dan, to the south of the west of Hermon. I read their petition till I fell asleep, and behold, a dream came to me, and visions fell down upon me. And I saw visions of chastisement, and a voice came bidding me, to tell it to the sons of heaven, and to reprimand them. And when I awaked, I came unto them, and they were all sitting gathered together, weeping in Abel-Sijah, which is between Lebanon and Seneser, with their faces covered. And I recounted before them all the visions which I had seen in sleep, and I began to speak the words of righteousness, and to reprimand the heavenly watchers. Chapter 14. The book of the words of righteousness and of the reprimand of the eternal watchers, in accordance with the command of the Holy Great One. In that vision I saw in my sleep what I will now say with the tongue of flesh and with the breath of my mouth. So at this point, the difference between the flesh, this flesh man trying to help these fallen Nephilim, trying to help them, it seems really, really backwards, which the Great One has given to men to converse therewith and understand with the heart. As he was created and given to man the power of understanding the word of wisdom, so hath he created me also, and given me the power of reprimanding the watchers, the children of heaven. I wrote out your petition, and in my vision it appears thus, that your petition will not be granted unto you throughout all the days of eternity, and that judgment has been finally passed upon you. Yea, your petition will not be granted unto you, and from henceforth you shall not ascend into heaven unto all eternity. And in bonds of the earth the decree has gone forth to bind you for all the days of the world, and that previously you shall have seen the destruction of your beloved ones, and ye shall have no pleasure in them, but they shall fall before you by the sword, the swords that they themselves taught and created, told men. And your petition on their behalf shall not be granted, nor yet on your own, even though you weep and pray and speak all the words contained in the writing which I have written. And the vision was shown to me thus: behold, in the vision clouds invited me, and a mist summoned me. And the course of the stars and the lightning sped and hastened me, and the winds in the vision caused me to fly, and lifted me upward, and bore me into heaven. And I went until I drew nigh to a wall which is built of crystals, and surrounded by tongues of fire, and it began to affright me. So God is an all-consuming fire, and his spirit had been taken up. No flesh man can see the face of God, because he's in a different dimension. You have to go to the other dimension to see him, or to, you know what I mean? Your flesh just isn't built for that unless it's transfigured, like Elijah, Moses, Enoch, Christ. And I went into the tongues of fire, and drew nigh to a large house which was built of crystals. The walls of the house were like tessellated floor made of crystal, and its groundwork was of crystal. Its ceiling was like the path of the stars and the lightnings, and between them were fiery cherubims, the covering angels. And their heaven was clear as water. A flaming fire surrounded the walls, and its portals blazed with fire. And I entered into that house, and it was hot as fire and cold as ice. And there was no delights of life therein. Fear covered me, and trembling got a hold upon me. I have to say, me and my sister were put in front of God after we had been shown things, but because we had sinned, we had taken our lives, this judgment came upon us. So we were kind of tossed into the room, and I could not look on him, and both my sister and I just laid on the floor trembling. And Yah kept saying, "Get up, stand up." And I finally had the courage, because I said, there was a reason why I came here, why we basically snuck through the back door to talk to you. And so I got my determination up, and I stood up. I was trembling, but I stood up. My sister laid on the ground for a little while longer, but I said, "Do you not see what's going? I came here to talk to you." So I can tell you, if you spoke to God, you will never forget it. Ever. And Ezekiel, you know, who knows what will happen in these end times with you. You may be brought up. You may need to see that to get through. I don't know, but it is as easy as going to sleep and being taken up. Okay. And as I quaked and trembled, I fell upon my face, and I beheld a vision, and lo, there was a second house greater than the former, and the entire portal stood before me, and it was built of flames of fire, and in every respect it so excelled in splendor and magnificence and extent that I cannot describe to you its splendor and its extent. And its floor was of fire, and above it was lightnings, and the path, the stars, and its ceiling also was flaming fire. And I looked and saw therein a lofty throne. Its appearance was as crystal, and the wheels thereof as the shining sun. Ezekiel describes this. God came down and spoke to Ezekiel. It's right there. See? He can come in and out, and so can these evil ones. And there was the vision of cherubim, and from underneath the throne came streams of flaming fire, so that I could not look thereon. And the great glory sat on, and his raiment shone more brightly than the sun. See, this is why we're not going to need the sun in the millennium or eternity. He's bright. His appearance, his self, shines up the world. Let's see. And was whiter than any snow. None of the angels could enter or could behold his face by reason of the magnificence and glory, and no flesh could behold him. The flaming fire was round about him, and a great fire stood before him, and none around could draw nigh him. 10,000 times 10,000 stood before him, yet he needed no counselor, and the most holy ones who were nigh to him did not leave by night, nor depart from him. And until then I had been prostrate on my face, trembling. And the Lord called me with his own mouth, and said to me, Come hither, Enoch, and hear my word. And one of the holy ones came to me and waked me, and he made me rise up and approach the door, and I bowed my face downwards. Okay, so on next one will be chapter 15 through 36, and we'll get even heavily into this. And the group that I'm going to be starting up is going to delve very, very deep. The one here on Facebook is just an overview. We do get into it, but the ones that really, really want to delve deep into this, then that group these people will be moving. And so if you're interested in it, just let me know. I've got about 15 people so far. And, it'll be fun. The more you study, the deeper you get, the more hunger you get, the more enlightened you get, the stronger you get. Let's see. Let's see. Roxanne, hey girl. I already said hi, but it's so good to see you. My glasses are dirty. Let's see. Billy Hill. Oh, see, you take this down. The 666, 6 Trump, 6 Feel, 6 Seal, 6 File. Can I marry you? I love you. This woman is my life. She's also my wife. This woman is my wife. She's my wife. 49 cubits height of the, see, Meshach, she dark, Indo. 49, is it 49 cubits then? We got an answer. 49 cubits. Do you know what that is? I'll have to look. I'm kind of lazy right now. If you know. Hi, Mind for Knowledge, Edge, Peace. 7 by 7. Hi, Christy. Hey, Deb, how you doing? This thing keeps going down. Let's see. Gully. Let's see. What the heck? Right. And Ori, you're always here. You guys are always here. Let's see. Hi, the Maniac. And Deb, I'm so glad you got to get here this time. Let's see. On me, or are you talking to someone else? How can I contact you? I do have a Facebook group that I have, and I'll post that in the description, and then you can join the group. Me, you obviously adore me. Oh my gosh. You don't know me. If you knew me, you wouldn't adore me. Trying to see. Oh, okay. So I was just going to go over this real quick. On the End Time Prophecy group, which is the name, I have kind of the agenda all set up, and I will post it also on in this description. But basically what I'm going to be doing is this next week I'm going to be going on a camping trip, but coming back on Saturday. Then I'm going to do a live show on that Sunday starting at 3. Everything will be always at 3 o'clock. And then I'll do a Wednesday show, then Friday show, and then we'll be beginning Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. And then, like, you know, like holidays or a special time, or if you want to just talk about, you know, heaven, and, you know, there's all sorts of things we can talk about, especially now, because there's so many things happening. So I don't know, my dog is starting to whine, and I know people, you know, you don't like to watch really long ones, so I'm gonna keep these like at an hour long. But thank you for everybody coming, and I will see you next Sunday. And I hope you have a great week. I will post it. I will post the Facebook on the description. Okay, I will do that. Billy Hill. I like to mention everybody in here who's come in here. Kip, yeah, you're awesome. I'm glad you were able to come this time. So, take care of yourselves. Wish me luck. And no electricity. I don't know how I'm gonna do it. Just, it's gonna be cold too. But you know what? It's an adventure, and I'm really gonna be studying really hard and just getting deep into the Word. So it's like, I'll feel like one of those old time prophets. Give me some blankets. I got a really like heavy duty sleeping bag, and it's over in Eastern Oregon, so it's warm, but it gets cold at night because it's the deserts. It's the desert. Anyway, hey, talk to you guys later, all right?